This is part 2 of the Michael Dunlop podcast. If you've not listened to part 1, make sure you head back and listen to it. We were talking about all sorts, everything from flying, rally cars and motorbikes, so make sure you go and check that out. The friendship or the dynamic I love is this is your relationship with Carl Cox. Carl Cox is obviously world famous DJ. I guess you'd call him an extrovert, the way he performs, and he goes to all the big clubs. He's got a huge love and a huge passion for all things TT. How did kind of you two come together for him to support you?
It was just weird. Just got chatting to somebody that was working with Carl at the time, and you know, Carl's been fantastic with me over the last 2017, I think. Carl came on. He's been fantastic, and you know what? He genuinely, you know, in that scenario, he is genuinely one of the nicest people. And I'm not just saying that because, like, even some of my sport, I would say to him, you can be a bit of a knob, but you're a good person. You know what I mean? Yeah. He's just genuinely a big soft. You know, he loves the sport, freaking loves it. He just wants to lie in the head. Like I've said to him numerous times, no, I'm going to lie in the bank. He's a house right here. He lies in the bank, and he just loves it. And he's been fantastic to me over the last, was that 6 years? You know, and I genuinely wouldn't. You know, you couldn't do it without. You know, he's been so good in different areas, and it's weird too because when we chat, I've took him into. For me now, he's a friend. You know, like, so I don't look at it in the same way. Like, we're walking down the street, and I've never seen so many generations stop with him. You know, he's not like me, for instance. My generational thing. If you're into motorbikes, and you're, you know, 50 to 20s, you know, somebody will probably know me somewhere because of the thing. Yeah. Carl Cox is fucking. That man was on TV. He was on the radio. You know, and I've seen 80-year-olds, 90-year-olds. You know, Carl, you know, they remember. And then I've seen 50s. Yeah. I've seen 30s, and I've seen fucking 15-year-olds. You know, come up to him, and they're, you know, kids, middle age, and older people. He just went through so many generations, and I've probably never seen in anything a man be able to go through all generations. You know, you have like a limit of generation. You know, people remember the 70s, the 80s. Carl has done the whole thing, and to walk down the street and people, you know, I've seen people come to the Isle of Man who came even last year who were supposed to be famous TV. You know, there were and a couple of people around him. Like Carl just gets mobbed. Yeah. You know, he's just got such a massive. You know,
so you got any stories? You've been over a beefer to the big clubs.
I have. We went to when he opened it, when he had space. We went over. Listen, it's. I'd have to take my hat off to him. You know what he does. You know, like
special.
It's fucking. You know, I just thought he played a few jiggies here, and you know, you don't know.
Press play.
You know. Well, I thought. Like, I remember seeing him when we went over. Like he says, "Come on over, we're opening." I said, "I know, boss." I flew over and landed. Fucking. Pissed off my face, like, you know what I mean? I was just drinking away, fucking, you know, landed this car, fucking drinking all that, this fucking thing, I was a hero, you know what I mean? Landed at this table and fucking full of folk, you know, and that, for me, they were just fucking, I didn't know any of them, but they were all, you know, pop stars and all that, you know, they were all fucking, I was like, well, pet, how are you? And she looking at me, who's that white prick? You know what I mean? Like, you know, look at the state of him, you know, he's come in here, he's pasty white, you know what I mean? He's fucking never seen a day of sun, wearing a pair of shorts and a hoodie, a fucking freak show, you know what I mean? They all sitting all mint, you know, and you thought, they were all planning, you know, it was all planning. You just think they just go up and, but it was, you know, he probably has to do what we have to do for the TT, he's working and so, and then you get into the club and they just, seeing you on stage, when we done the stage, went to the after party thing, folk were just going mental. I couldn't, you know, and I thought to myself, that has to be some buzz. It's the only thing I think I would love to try and do. See, you go on a stage and fucking 200,000 or 300,000 people just cream their pants. You know, he just, the world stops for it, and he's just fucking, the buzz that he must feel from the electric he feels from the crowd, and he genuinely loves it. He fucking still loves it. You know, at his age now, and he's 60. You know,
is he?
You know, it's you know,
fair play.
I've been in this company numerous times. And
Does that mean Michael Dunlop's still going to be racing around a TT when he's 60?
fuck me, I can't see that happening now. Fuck me, that would be a height going, wouldn't it? I'd need to be on the Classic or something, wouldn't it? But even just, like, I've never seen him. Listen, everybody's got stories about he's always pleasant and he's always fucking, you know what I mean? And as I said, but as I say, it's fortunate enough for my job. I've got that. I've surrounded myself with good people. Immune sponsors. I have another sponsor. He's a fucking lunatic, an absolute lunatic. But if it wasn't for them lads, the crack wouldn't be there. And you know what I mean. And as I said, I said, and I don't like anybody else would be abusing the situation of, you know, knowing Carl Cox. Oh, go to gigs, and I don't like asking him because then you know you're thinking, shit, like, oh,
say yes to anything.
Oh, he'd say, "Why you Carl, I'm going to come to X, Y, and Z, right? Fucking, I'll be a chopper there, you know what I mean, or you know, fucking sit in the like I was in the VIP. When we got to Ibiza, and he said, like, "You're in there," and a lady came over and she's, Carl says, whether this man wants to drink, get him something to drink, and so they brought out the. She says, "What are you drinking?" I says, so they give me a pint. So like that, a pint? We don't know what pints are over here. Like, you know what I mean? She was waiting for bottles of champagne and something, and I says, "I'll drink vodka or something like that. Bring me out some Monster. I have to keep the Monster right in there, or something like that." And just, you know, and I came down and she brought this stuff over, and the bill. You know, she wanted to set the bill down. And the card says, "You know, just you're all right, Michael." I looked at the bill and I was like, I think I'll be going up the street for a pint. You know, and we were in this VIP place, and there was this boy, and he was fucking these bottles of champagne he was spraying around. I said, "Who's this dickhead?" You know what I mean? He's fucking spraying this champagne over, and a fucking idiot. It was like $3.5 grand a bottle, and I was like, it's just fucking nuts. The world was just nuts. You know what I mean? He owned some, he owned some boat or something. I thought, myself, your car's outside, I'd steal your wheels. You know what I mean? It's just different world of getting on you, and it was. You get to experience them things that I wouldn't normally, like. You know, I wouldn't be in them sorts of, you know, going to a club or something. You're dodging a fight, not sitting in VIP, if you know what I mean. You know what I mean. So, but just to go up and you got and people, you know, people go and he gets people in bits and pieces. But you never like to. And I probably regret not going to some of the stuff because I would love to go and experience. And it's not just because it's a fucking free ticket. I like to experience what he's trying to experience because he's that buzz, and it's a bit like Formula 1. I would like to go at or MotoGP, but I want to go in the heart of it, not stand out and
not just on the outside.
Just you know, just to do it to say I done it.
He must be an avid listener to the TT, so he's heard all this. So you're never going to have to ask him again.
No,
come on, let's go.
And it's not like that.
Miami, let's go.
Whenever you're going somewhere cool, I'm coming. Hey, listen, I said it. He was the type of fella, even if I asked him to go, you know, I just wouldn't do it. But you know, he's just the buzz that man must feel. Like that's maybe what I get at TT when you're seeing people waving the flags, but he gets, you know, waving the programs when you're leading the race in the last lap. He must get that when he's standing there and there's fucking, you know, 200,000 people just jammed like sardines everywhere, and they're
he's in control of them, isn't he?
That's it. It's what, like he can make probably 95% of them cry if he wanted to.
Yeah,
you know,
100%.
Yeah, he's got so much, and that's, I suppose that's the rocker's life, isn't it?
You've made a lot of people cry.
I made them very sad. You talk about team managers.
Do you want to go down that route before we end?
No.
All right, let's talk about.
You don't have enough time for that.
That's another podcast all on its own, right? Book you in for another year's time. So 2023 then, we're only a couple of weeks away from TT now. How prepped are you for it? Because, you know, this time last year we were doing the launch. Someone had brought your Ducati over, and then an hour later you were not riding it.
They had it in the back of the van way only an hour later. Yeah,
You ready?
I'm ready. Yeah, we're just, again, not a back foot. It's getting harder. The weather's ran on worse this year probably than it ever has. A lot of people were out in Spain since November, December. But this year even the BSB tests have been all very heavily cold and wet, and Silverstone was a great weekend in fairness, so the weather was perfect. But the boys are on the Superbike. Superbike should be finished this week, so hopefully we'll try and get that out soon. But I think this jobby here, I don't think it doesn't matter what you do anywhere else. I don't think you'll ever be ready. You'll say you're ready, but you're not. But hopefully we're on the jigs and the wheels.
But we have a bike and we have a team, and
well, we have everything.
Yeah,
the stock bikes finished and built, 600s. I got home Monday. I'll be finished and built. A couple of wee bits I need to do that.
So what you obviously, just for the listeners, you're riding the Hawk bike,
Yeah.
as in Superbike.
Superbike,
Are
yeah.
you riding your own stock?
I've my own super stock Honda,
Super Sport?
Super Sport Yamaha,
Yeah.
and then I have my own 650.
What is that?
Pattern.
Sorry.
So I have all the Pattern 600 and stock are my own, and then Superbike is Stuart and Steve's or Hawk Racing as they call themselves. So yeah, everything's give or take. We're with everything. We're just waiting on some patent stuff, and some R6 stuff. But the bikes are on wheels. They're running and stuff like that. So we're within the jigs and the wheels of it. But I say it's hard. The class is starting to change a bit now. The 650, they're allowed 700s. The 600 class allowed fucking nearly 800s.
The Yamaha's R7s.
R7s. I think it's a 700. Then you have the 600s with your 765s and your what's it, the Caddy's 900 twin.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
It's problem is that's the R6 is tuned to an inch of its life, where these other manufacturers are stock detuned nearly to
I think the Caddy's 959. I think.
Is that what it is?
Yeah.
So and then so it is a bit of a, but I suppose we're changing the times.
Quite a big change. 23. Not just the schedule. There's more races and a longer time away for you and the team, obviously. Well, for us all. But Slicks, Super Sport, Super Stock, Slicks. Well, are they Super Twin Slicks or Treads?
I would assume there'd be Slicks now, obviously, that everything else
there's
is.
quite a difference there. 3 laps on the Stockers, not 4. Compulsory pit stops and so on. You can't change the rear. Nobody really knows how the Slicks are going to stand up for 3 laps either. So it's quite some different aspects this year, which should make it more interesting for everybody watching, for sure. But it's tough for you guys when you're trying to plan.
But it's to plan, and as you would well know, the rear slick technically should be okay for 3 laps.
Yeah.
Technically, because the big bike does it, but the Stocker's putting out nearly as much horsepower now as your shorter bike, so we just don't know, because we don't ever do 3 laps on them. We physically do 2 and then we change them. It's another bit of a crap fest too with tyres, the way things have gone as well. So everything's all sort of, there's a load of if but tin scans, so there's a lot of will it work, not work. You should compulsory pit stops just for fuel, and that changes a lot of wee stupid bits as well, because there's just things changing all the time, so you just need to be on top of it the whole time.
Do you prefer that? The 3 lap, I call it a 3 lap sprint on the Super Stock. Obviously you're very strong on your really strong classes, that and Super Sport. So do you think that's going to change? Obviously the pit stop's going to be really important. You can't penny pinch because the bikes use a lot of fuel. And
are you trying to say I'm shit my shorter bike and I'm only useful now my stock and 6?
Well, you haven't been as good as
that's a little bit
what
rude.
you have been in no, I'm really kidding.
Dickhead, one senior there and give me a lip now.
Yeah, no, I'd say they're your stronger classes at the moment. Yeah, probably because what you've been on in the previous and not.
We just haven't had I don't think we've had the right setup. Not the right setup. Just over the last few years, big bike's been hard. But that's these things change, and obviously trying to get a new bike, a new blade. So it's going to be another. Not hard, but you're just in a different scenario. But hey, listen, that we're here to win races, and I do think I can still win the big bike again. That's and thankfully Stuart and Steve think I can too. So that's why we're doing this job. But I think the 3 lappers is obviously because there's going to be 2 races in a day. I think they're doing it for more fatigue reasons maybe than they are safety reasons. They're trying to give the riders, obviously, because they've adapted 2 more races into the schedule, so I assume that's more. 3 lappers isn't really to make it any more interesting. I think it's maybe just to help the load on the day, as in 2 3 lappers instead of 2 4 lappers really, and give them time schedule or something.
So we're going to see you winning on the flipping sidecar or not?
Not at the minute anyway. No, fuck me. I wouldn't like to be going up against. Do you ever see the size of the Birchells? Fuck me. I have calves bigger than them boys. You know what I mean? So it's the same again. It's hard, you're trying to do something, you have to do it right. You know what I mean? I'd love to try it, don't get me wrong, but it's just when you're trying to win solo races, you have to fucking concentrate on what you're doing.
Hey, you've already got an awful lot on your plate. With more races this year as well.
Well, that's it. Aye. And
I think you'd make a good passenger for him.
Hey, nah, mate, flip it out. No.
That'd be good, wouldn't it?
I wouldn't sit in the flipping car with him. Let alone.
Come on, then, finish off. Quick fire questions.
Oh yeah, sorry. Let's right. These questions, quick fire. One or the other. You've done these before, not here.
No, because you tried to do that. You tried to do that last time, and you left me in an awful going over the last time.
Get out! You was just a little bit embarrassed. That's all.
I was fucking standing there going.
Now these are easier. Right, and I know some of the answers. Lager or real ale?
What the fuck's ale?
Real ale.
Ale.
You
Is that
must
for the
being
just
an
English
Irish-
boys, isn't it?
Real ale's a
Sitting
real.
and drinking your old fucking.
I ate it. I ate it. To be honest.
No, it's definitely darker.
Time trial or mass start?
I still mind. No, in fairness, that's a hard one because I'm not that fussed. I like bouncing off people, and I like going on my own sometimes. I like the time trial in fairness. I like the TT job.
Pineapple or never pineapple on a pizza?
Oh, you have to have pineapple.
Good lad.
It's a way forward.
Ballymoney or the Isle of Man?
No, I like the town. I like the Isle of Man. It depends what time of year I'm coming to the Isle of Man and how well I've done. No, I'll stick to Ballymoney. I'll stick to Ballymoney. I know.
You might choose the Isle of Man when they give you your own corner. Driving rally cars or flying airplanes?
Rally car. I like my rally car.
Hawk Racing or Michael Dunlop Racing?
I have to love myself. Nobody else will.
I need to say that.
Thanks.
Parachute jump or a TT pillion ride with me?
Oh, parachute jump. Or it'd be you in the classic and it was miserable enough without another your teammate.
The only reason you won it.
Yeah.
27 TT wins or 6 wins in a week?
6 wins in a week. Because that'll take me to 27. So,
Good answer, I like that. Outright TT lap record or sidecar TT win?
sidecar one.
Married with kids or footloose and fancy free?
What the fuck's this one? With these looks? Fucking screwed either way.
When you're out on the Cox thing.
What the fuck's that there? What is that there? Fuck me, oh man. Oh, the thought of you out when
What's
you're
the
younger.
outlook of Michael Dunlop?
What is the outlook?
Married and kids or flipping footloose and fancy free for the rest of your life?
Oh, fuck me. Oh, I don't know.
I think we need part 2 solely based on your two's teammate team riding at the Goodwood Revival. Can we get you back on for another one?
No, my back's sore carrying him.
Tell you what.
I never went back since because of you.
I'm probably the proudest moment of his life.
Fuck me.
Yeah.
I see embarrassed I did it. It was one thing I always wanted to win. I don't know why. It was.
Yeah, no, me too.
It was something that I had done it. Fucking, me and William had done it in 17.
What did you ride with William? Or
Patton. No, not Patton. Sorry, the MV. The MV. We rode the MV and we had done it, and we were quite. I think I broke the lap record in practice, maybe. We were so much quicker, and even the race, I had it off in the race and started to work away, and I came into the pits and I said, this thing shit itself. I know it shit itself. So I got him on it quickly and pushed him at pit lane to hopefully then if it blew up with him then it wasn't my fault. I think I got 2 corners in, it shit itself. And I sort of knew that, but and then after that then obviously we were to go back again. Obviously that was the whole thing, and it never happened, and I never won it, and I was always fucking. And I said to him, I'd been invited back a couple of times, and he says, I'm not going unless I'm on something. It was just, I wanted to win it. It was, Goodwood's a massive fucking thing. It's you know, and they treat you like royalty. Fucking folk are fantastic. The folk that run the event. Yeah. The man that owns it and everything, they're just fucking real lovely people. But I'd always had it in my head, I need to go back and win. And then I had a chance then to go back again on the MV. And obviously the MV is, as we know, that it's a good bike, but it can be temperamental. Mm-hmm. And I was offered to go back at it, and then but I said I wanted to choose my teammate. When I wanted to go back, he was obviously busy, so I had to take Steve. And it was only what was left in the calendar. But no, it's you know what, it's one of them events, you know, because you've heard of them all, you know. Like, when you go there, you meet Jackie Stewart and people like that. We met them over the years, and people like that had won the event, you know, and we're now on paper of we've won Goodwood, you know, and it's one of them things you're like, yeah, that's cool. That's cool. You know, it's like one of them people think, oh, but Goodwood's massive. Like the amount of people there, it's fucking thousands upon thousands of people at it, and everybody's heard of it, even if you're not really anymore. I won Goodwood, you know. It's one of them sort of, good job.
Last question. What else do you want to win? What's left? What's left on Michael Dunlop's radar?
I don't really know. TT was obviously, I wanted to, that was the game at the start, and I've now done that. Everything else, I've enjoyed, and I've the problem is our jobs are getting quite shorter now. But obviously, Irish road racing looks like it's on its tits, and everything seems to be swarming into a bit of a thing, and then there's very little sort of direction for me to go in, unless I can veer myself into a little bit of BSB of some description or something like that. It all seems to have dwindled down in there, I must say, and it's there's
nothing on four wheels. There's no big goals.
I would love to do Goodwood in a car, proper car. I would love to actually, same again, love to go in a Formula 1 car, but all these things, back in the day it was probably a lot easier to do that 10 years ago. Now it's all red tape, different circles and stuff like that there. But I'd love to do a wee bit more car stuff, but it's like everything, it's any car, not even Formula 1, because obviously we'd never get a Formula 1 drive or something, but Formula E, just anything that's four wheels orientated. Card's got a new team now as well, and hopefully get a run on that, stuff like that. Love to do the Dakar, real interest. Always had an interest even before. Four wheels. Even before James had done it, I had always an interest in the Dakar. But again, it's my hobbies and stuff that I would like to do is not cheap stuff.
That in itself is a full-time job to prep for the Dakar, isn't it?
That's it. And there's a rally in Barbados I'd love to do. Again, it needs fucking 50 grand to and unless you would get somebody that you would get a seat drive with, or just different things. I would still love to do world endurance bits and pieces, but everywhere you turn now it's quite heavily financially money orientated. So unless I get into that situation where I find somebody who would like to give me a go or give me a drive or give me somewhere or other, it would be great. But as I said, we've got so much talent in the world at the minute, and a lot of the younger lads too.
I've said this already. Last question. Who's your four-wheel hero?
I never really grew up in the four-wheel scene, obviously, as in I have an interest in it, love it, never really followed it. It was, when I was sort of younger, it was Schumacher and people like that there. Wherever clips I've always been watching is people like Ari Vatanen, superstars like that there, you know what I mean? So I never, people always, grew up having heroes. I never really had a hero. I always had admired somebody, but never really thought, you're my hero. I never really, because when you're looking at what your dad was doing, sort of thing, you always realise, you never really had hero. I'm a firm believer. I don't care who or what you are, what you've done, what you haven't done. We're all the same. To say, this going on, like I would, if I met any of the massive TV stars, I've talked to them exactly the same. I've talked to somebody else, it's, it's mad, like, like I met an actor who was obviously John Wick in the programme, which I would have watched, and it was you were like, oh, I know him from the TV, straight away went over, well, what's the crack, boss? Didn't go, and everybody else there was creaming at the pants, like, I just well, what's the crack, boss? I never look at anybody any different. I would do the same if I met the King. Well, what's happening? How's she swinging? I would have no desire to change my forte for anybody, and I think that's my way of going through life. I've never ever put anybody any higher or dislike people, that's for sure, but I don't fucking look at it in any other way.
I reckon that's probably why you've got just as many people that love you that probably don't love you as well. But I think that's what makes you you, right?
I could really, one of them listers is a lot different than the other one, I would think.
I don't know.
Lists is fucking
I don't know. But anyway, one thing is for sure, we need a part 2.
Yeah.
So we'll get you back on. Can we have you back on at some point? I know you've avoided this for God knows how long.
Definitely not.
Brilliant. Well, unfortunately, everybody is never coming back, but at least we got him on for one.
I'll do.
Michael, cheers, mate.
Thank you.
Prove me wrong on that superbike.
No. You've left your story. You should.
I think I can breathe a sigh of relief. I was genuinely worried about, Michael just being a little bit standoffish, potentially, being limited in his answers just to get in and out of here. But I really enjoyed that. Some of the stuff I found out about him that I didn't know was really insightful.
Hey, listen, once he relaxes, he's fine, but it's just a case of getting him to open up and just talk about all the things he's into, as well as, he's just a normal person, really.
Yeah, but you don't get to see any of that.
No, not in an event.
Yeah.
There's a lot of pressure on and so on, obviously, as he said.
Yeah. Well, what a thoroughly enjoyable bloke to sit and chat with. What was your favourite story of his?
Well, I like the flying things because I do it myself and this but he's obviously, that's his breakaway from racing. But it's kind of, there's so many stories there. We need to do another 2 or 3 with Michael, because there's so many stories in and around that, and there's all sorts going on in his head at the same time that he's talking. So that's why it's hard to get him to chill.
Well, let's put the wheels in motion now to try and get him for potentially 2026 or something like that. No, I think he'll be. Do you know what? After he's listened to this, I think he'll be like, right, I've got more stories for you boys.
You think he'll listen?
Yeah, I think he'll be. Of course he'll listen. Definitely. I hope. This has been the Michael Dunlop episode of the TT podcast. Make sure wherever you listen or watch, you hit that like button and you're subscribing. Plenty of star-studded guests coming up on the next few podcasts. And next up, we've got Josh Brooks.
I was still buzzing by the fact I even got there was even a consideration. So I was thinking, well, if it's not right now, it'll come at some moment ahead. And then at the following Australian Superbike Championship round, I got crashed into by another rider and separated my pelvis. So I was in hospital for a few weeks and had internal fixation with plates and stuff like that. And then I was in a wheelchair for a few weeks, and then I got to go home, and I was on crutches for a few months, and then it was just a long. And so I went from like the peak of at that point my career and where it was going to like the lowest trough of where I've probably ever felt.
That episode is coming out next week. Don't forget to check out iomttracers.com for all your latest news and gossip from the Isle of Man TT Racers, and make sure you check us out on all the usual socials. We're at TT Racers Official. Steve, until next time.
Thanks, mate.
See you, mate.